As you can probably tell from the title, this video is not going to be about a T410, but I figure I might as well take the moment to discuss a few things that are going on right now with various machines, not just the T410, but the T410 is a big one. You can see there's a hard drive sitting on the desk, and it is a Western Digital black drive. It's actually a recertified Western Digital black drive. Well, probably would. There you go. Anyways, that's right. The 750 gig drive has failed again. In the same way that the last one did. So, to say that I'm not impressed is a little bit of an understatement, because I'm not. But what I think I'm going to have to do, well, what I'm going to end up doing, I'm definitely sending this drive back. There's absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It's still under warranty. But I might end up buying a new one, a new 750 gig, and just using whatever WD sends back to me as a spare. Because, you know, I can't keep having to swap in the 500 gig drive in and out after a couple months when this thing decides it's going to kick the bucket, as it has done again. One other thing that's interesting to note is that it doesn't actually reallocate sectors unless it's prodded to do so with external software, and I'm not sure exactly why that is the case. Anyways, let's move on to the Pentium D System. We're going to have to log in here. That's really sad that I have to put a camera down just to enter a password. Anyways, I want to show you something with the RAID array, and I'm going to talk about what I'm going to be doing to this system. So let me bring up that. I should have just waited and brought up the RAID utility. You can see we've just got the normal stuff, you know, media, RAID 1, of course, the 80 gigabyte size, normal, and it prompts you to perform maintenance, and we've got the normal drives there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Health Inspector, though. System Health Inspector. Storage Health Inspector. You can see, you probably already saw the problem. Got the two drives there, that's the serial number, not the actual drive. I find it hilarious that the Maxter is actually repeated twice there. And everything looks fine until we go to bad sectors found and repaired. There is a single bad sector on the Seagate drive, which is not enough to cause problems, which is just fine. I will not be replacing the drive outright, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to be getting a third drive. I'm going to install it in place of the DVD drive there, the optical drive, because I do not need the optical drive. So I'll put it in place of the optical drive, and that'll also have the benefit of allowing me to get rid of that stupid bulky IDE, stupid bulky IDE cable. So I'll put that in there and set it up as a hot spare, so when that Seagate drive does fail, because it will fail, it's a Seagate, as will the boot drive, but the boot drive is fine right now. So, there you go, that's my plan right now. I'm also planning on maybe doing a couple of other things, possibly replacing this keyboard, you know, that kind of stuff. Speaking of computer failures, I have but one more to mention, and it is this. The Compaq, I think its cooling fan has decided it's going to kick the bucket or stop working properly, because the thing ramps itself up to 85-90 degrees on a regular basis, and you have to remember that it is not exactly very cold or warm in here. You will not be able to see that. Even if the camera was good in low light, you would not be able to see that. 18.9 Celsius. So it's about 19 degrees Celsius, I'll round it up. Which is not warm at all. And it is doing that under those temperatures. So, yeah. Okay, I really can't think straight right now, and it's only about 12:40, so yeah, that's probably a sign that things are not going to get much better tonight. Subject of today's video is sitting over there, though. A lot of people seem to want to see the 6030X, that NEC that's sitting over there. I'm not quite sure why, because there's not a lot that's special about it. I'm going to have to walk over here. I'm going to try and use it in this tight corner. There's not much that's special about it. I mean, it's a Pentium 133 with 16 megabytes of memory, a 1 gig hard drive, and it's running Windows 3.1 and DOS 622. Nothing really special about it. It does also have this wonderful LCD. Oh wait, there is something special about it. I'm going to show you exactly what is special about it without taking my tool here. This tool I actually use to turn the power on because, well, you can't really see it. Yes, you can now. The power switch is missing. So I have to actuate the switch manually. I'm going to move this over a little bit, without breaking it, hopefully. You'll see that there's also another problem there. There are so many screws missing that you can do that with it, which is a huge problem. Let's take a look here. Oh. Well, that's not what it should look like. Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. It looks like somebody dropped this particular system on that corner, and this thing was left for dead out in the trash, sitting on top of a sorry-looking VCR. It was a 2-head VCR, piece of junk. Not really worth picking up, so I didn't. With the power supply. Now, the power supply is an even sorrier story, but I can't find it at the moment, so unless maybe it's in here. Would you look at that? Here's the power supply, NEC, you know, 80P74, I believe is what that model number is. But you probably won't be plugging it into anything anytime soon. That is a little bit broken. A little bit too broken. I'm sure it's possibly very easily repaired, but I am not really going to repair it because, well, I'm lazy. I've also got a couple of stories to tell about this particular system, and it has to do with some of its funky behavior. This power supply I've usually got plugged into the 6230, which is sitting beside it, but it'll work just fine with the 60. It's the same power supply. It's an 80P74. So, there's one thing. It's a story of spookiness. If I leave this thing plugged in for long enough, and the right conditions are met, I have no idea what triggers it, but this thing will turn itself on. I have caught it doing it many times. There was a show that I did at one point where it did that live on the air while the microphone was on. That's just how weird it is. Now we're going to turn this on, hopefully. This switch is not easy to actuate, even with a key, because it's simply just not... There we go. You hear the IBM hard drive going off. And there's another problem, and it is the speaker, which should start making noise at some point here soon. And the display! The display is not in good shape at all. Keyboard is actually a really good keyboard. I like this. It's better than the one that's on this. Not by a lot, but it is still better. Of course, nothing beats the keyboard of the older Toshibas. Those are awesome. Let's see here. Pentium 133, 16 megabytes of memory, 1443 megabyte hard drive. Like the 6230, it doesn't seem to be possible to disable the floppy drive on this, but that's fine, I don't really care. I'm surprised the speaker has not started making noise once. Usually, it is all about buzzing and all that kind of... It's showed up in my videos before where it does that. There's not much on here. I mean, there is a copy of Microsoft Office. So I'm going to probably demonstrate that, because why not? Let's open up, I don't know, Microsoft Word. Where's Word? It's probably up at the top of the screen. There it is. Let's open up Microsoft Word, because why not? Can do some experimental typing here. Did you know you can use a wizard to help you quickly create a letter, resume, or other document? Well, if I didn't know that before, now I do. And I'm pretty sure I knew that before, because I've been using Word since... I think I've been using Word, let's see, when did I start using that program? For real work, I would say I started using that back in around 05 or so. But for, like, leisure or whatever, just typing random crap over on the keys, I started using that back when I got the Pentium 120 based system. Like, the one that I had way back in the day. That was in 2001, just around the turn of the century. So we're going to make this a little bit more visible, just so you can see what I'm doing. So, I don't know, we'll put that to... It's not a lot of fun to try and use the mouse on this particular system because it's really jumpy. Probably because the system was used. We're going to just do a bunch of typing here. Just type some. So there you go. That's some basic typing. You can hear what the keyboard sounds like. Sounds pretty darn good for a laptop keyboard. And then the sleep switch, some people have been interested in. They've actually been interested in the one that's on the 6230. But it's basically the same concept. You press it, and the system goes into a standby mode. You'll see, hopefully you can see the little moon indication on the system status LCD and the blinking light there. And you also heard it beep before it shut off. If you press it again, it will turn itself back on. Exactly the way you left it. This display, I will tell you, is not in the bestest shape. One other thing that's probably worth interesting is a look at the old Microsoft Office user interface. And in my opinion, the much more usable user interface. Apparently it just locked up. That's hilarious. That's actually awesome. So I don't know if I have to reboot the whole system or what. I'm going to try that. Let's see if I can actually reboot this with a Control-Alt-Delete. It's actually just outright ignoring all of my input. So I guess there's another problem. So we're going to just unplug it. Or we're not going to unplug it. We're going to actuate the switch. Apparently we'll do that twice. Oops. Let's see what that does. Oh yeah, it's based on a chip 65550 GPU. That's what that little message at the front, at the beginning, tells you. Let's go into the BIOS. F2. Did I hit it fast enough? Clearly not. Control-Alt-Delete. Three-finger salute. We need to be a little bit faster this time. There we go. Phoenix Note BIOS 4.0. And that's what it looks like. I think that's, yeah, that says 4.0. What is amazing about this, and I am absolutely, I was floored to find this out, the clock battery is still good. I did not set that date and time, as you can see, before making this video at all. It is actually perfect, and usually, because of the really weird behavior that this thing has, turning itself on all the time, I leave it unplugged. And it's got no battery in it. So that's really impressive. So take a look here. You can see the master CD-ROM drive. It does have the CD-ROM. So you can see here. Or maybe you can't see here. It does have a CD-ROM though. I don't think it's working. It was working, but now it's not. So that's not very encouraging. But anyways, you've got all the peripherals. This does support security features like a power-on password and all that kind of stuff. See the power savings that this thing has, which is, I think that was probably introduced either around the 486 laptop era or maybe even the Pentium era of laptops. So that would have been relatively new back when this thing was made. Then you've got your usual, you know, exit and do all that. I don't believe, yeah it does, no, it reboots the whole system, even if you say that, if you discard and exit, which is something that newer, more modern systems also don't do. If we hit escape, we can see all of the information. Prime Versa 6000 series. Ooh, error message. Note BIOS partition or file does not exist. Save to disk doesn't work. Maybe that's why it broke. Yeah, I think that's why it broke. Because the saved disk file does not actually exist. So it's got no way of actually saving the contents of the RAM to the hard drive, so they were lost, and that caused the entire thing to go belly up. It's running Office 4.3, by the way. Glorious days, back when suspending, saving to disk, sleeping, whatever you want to call it, when that used to be a relatively new concept. Laptops were not a new concept at all. There were 8088 laptops produced, but they were more like 8088 luggables. because of how big they are. They were like 20. I've seen like a couple of them in person. They're those big Zenith Super Sport things. That's one example. 286. There were 8088 models. They weighed 20 pounds, and that's without the optional battery, which was 3 inches thick and stuck off the back of the laptop. It's ridiculous, the kind of things. But some people bought them. Let's see. Does this DVD drive actually work? Yeah, it does not do anything. CD-ROM drive. Sorry. Oh well, you can see the control panel, all that stuff. File manager. This is what Windows used to look like, just that, no taskbar or anything. Much simpler times. I would not want to be using this on a regular basis in this day and age. It'd be so hard to manage Windows, it's not even funny. Let's see, what else can I demonstrate here? There's not a whole heck of a lot on this system. I mean, we've got Paintbrush and all of those associated utilities. We've got Microsoft Office 4.3 with its absolutely awesome design templates and PowerPoint. I love them. Much better than the ones that are coming with PowerPoint now, but of course, obviously much less advanced because this is back in the Windows 3.1 days, before Office 95, so that ought to tell you how old it is. Let's see, let's just open up Paintbrush here and draw something random on the screen. My mouse just disappeared. No, it's just being impossible to move. Okay. Can't really do much with Paintbrush without a mouse. Let me coax this thing into working. Alright, so let's see if we can draw something here. That is exactly the reason why I don't really use the system for anything. I tried to draw a circle, and it did that. So can I draw even a remotely straight line? I'm wondering if maybe this trackpad is not calibrated properly, and that's why it's doing that. See if we can get that to show up better on camera with a better color. I don't know, let's try that. This is a high color display, so I do get all of these colors without them showing up as, you know, pixelated or kind of like dithered or anything like that. See, I am just moving this straight across, or as straight across as I possibly can, and it is moving all over the place. So that's either the sensitivity is turned up way too high, or the trackpad is just not calibrated properly. I'm going to say that it's not calibrated properly because this is an older, or maybe it's just lost calibration over the years. But that's pretty much it. Take a look at DOS if you really want. There's not much to do in DOS. I need to put more applications on this system, which is going to be really difficult now that I know that the CD-ROM drive doesn't work. I'll have to look into that because that was working. But there you can see all of the little pieces here. Let's try using the old edit program. Take a look at autoexecute.bat, which Windows is actually in, so that's why Windows automatically launches. You can see the win there. Set the path. There's the CD-ROM drive loading thingy. Going to exit out of that, and let's just start Windows again. You can see we can launch Windows from the command line just like that. These were the good old days, folks, back when computers really were a lot simpler than they are now. One thing I didn't point out is actually the presence of the Office toolbar up there. That's what it used to look like. Yes, there really was a time when things were this simple. Those days have clearly passed, and with that, this video is also clearly passed. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off. I hope to see you next time. Apparently, that does not want to cooperate with me right now. Of course, this stupid key is also bent, so that doesn't really help matters. Turn off, damn it. Whatever, we'll just pull the plug. Oh, we'll break the plug, too. Ha! Come on. Unplug. There's a little bit of that buzzing that I was trying to mention. I'm gonna break this thing. At this rate. There we go. Hope to see you next time. Until then.